Hello everyone, and welcome to week 9 of English 111. This week our focus will continue to be on our research project. As we continue to work on our research prospectus, we'll also begin to work on developing research questions. There'll be a handout from the Bedford researcher on developing your research question and proposal, and there'll be a handout with many example research questions. And your assignments this week are pretty light, given the fact that many of you most likely didn't have power for part of last week and were unable to complete all the assignments. You can continue to work on your assignments through next week from week 8. They're not due until the end of week 9. There will be some additional journal entries this week for week 9, and your research prospectus isn't due until Sunday, November 11th, this coming Sunday, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's start off by thinking about what a research question is. It's a brief question that directs your efforts to collect, critically read, evaluate, and take notes on your sources. It should focus on a specific issue. It should reflect your writing situation. It should be narrow, and it should begin with the words what, why, when, where, who, or how. How can you develop your research questions? You can begin by reflecting. Research questions should be revised as you grow your understanding of the issue that you're researching. Now that you've spent some time learning more about your project in the past week, by asking your peers about your project, by gathering initial information, you can reflect a little bit more knowledgeably on your writing situation. So in your journal, your first entry in your journal this week, please answer the following questions. What has changed, if anything, about what you want to accomplish with your project? Have you changed the role you want to adopt? Do you want to inform readers, reflect on your issue, conduct an analysis, carry out an evaluation, define or solve a problem, convince your readers to accept an argument, mediate a disagreement, or persuade readers to take action? What kinds of sources would be best to rely on as you carry out your project? How have your biases, meaning your interests, your beliefs, and your prior knowledge of the issue, affected your ability to learn about the issue you'll address in your project? Once you've answered those questions in your journal, I'd like you to work on generating potential research questions. Questions can focus on a lot of different types of topics. They can be about information, what is known or unknown about your issue. It can be about the history of your issue, what happened in the past. They can involve assumptions. What conclusions have writers and readers already made about this issue, whether they're right or wrong? It can be about goals. What do the writers and readers involved in conversations about this issue want to see happen or not happen? It can be about outcomes. What has happened so far? What is likely to happen? Or about policies. What are the best procedures for carrying out actions, for making decisions? And questions can lead to these thinking processes. They can be a definition. They can describe aspects of an issue. It can be an evaluation, asking about strengths and weaknesses, or appropriateness. They can be compare-contrast, asking about distinctions between aspects of an issue. They can be cause-effect analysis, asking what leads to a specific result. They can be problem-solution analysis or advocacy, defining problems, considering outcomes of a problem, assessing potential solutions, and or offering solutions. They can be sequential analysis, which asks about step-by-step series of events. They can be an inquiry, seeking new information or conducting original research, or they can just simply be reporting, where you're conveying what is known about an idea, event, or phenomenon. I have here a format for you to think about generating some potential research questions. I've also uploaded a handout called Generating Research Questions, which gives you sample questions for each of these categories. So I'd like you to take a look at that, at the handout, and try to make your own questions that look at the information around your issue. Remember last week you decided on an issue, right? what information, what types of questions can you ask that look at information, or that look at history, or that look at assumptions or goals, outcomes or policies. Craft questions that reflect your writing situation. So once you've done that, once you've thought through some, tentative questions for each of these types of categories, I want you to review them and ask yourself which types of questions you'd like to focus on. Because there's going to be a certain way you want to conduct your research, but you need to practice writing all kinds. You want to choose the research question that seems more likely to help you achieve your purpose as a writer. You want to refine your research questions. So for an example, maybe your original research question was, what should be done about steroid use by adolescent girls involved in competitive sports? Once you've read through the issues a little bit more, you'll know that maybe that it's really difficult to do widespread drug testing of all athletes. Okay, so you might add in conditional words to frame that by saying, even though we know that widespread drug testing of all athletes, younger and older, is impossible, what should be done about steroid use by adolescent girls involved in competitive sports? Do you see how that's a more effective question? Meaning you'll be able to find better research to support that question? Here's a list of conditional words that I'd like you to try using in your research questions. I'd also like you to narrow the scope of your research questions by deleting vague words and phrases and replacing them with more specific language. For example, maybe your original question was, what is behind the increased popularity in women's sports? You could refine this, right, to say what has led to the increased popularity of women's sports in colleges and universities, right? You're getting a little more specific. But after you've done some research, you can add in some specific terminology related to this. You could say, how has Title IX increased opportunities for women athletes in American colleges and universities? Title IX is what was passed that allowed women to compete in college-level sports. This is the type of narrowing and refining I want you to think about working on. And then once you've done that narrowing and refining, you want to use these, any specific terms that you've come up with, like Title IX, to conduct preliminary searches in the library catalog and online databases and on the web. So the next step after you've got your research questions is you're going to start drafting your research prospectus. And this is what's due at the end of the week. So the main things that you need to create in your research prospectus are, what is the working title of your study? Okay, what are you going to call it? How did you become interested in this topic? Catalog that. Many of you did this in your abstract already. What do you already know about your topic? This is your preliminary knowledge and research. You want to provide a brief history of the topic, and you want to introduce the issue you've chosen to focus on. And this is separate from how you became interested in the topic or how you feel about this topic. It's just the facts, a brief history of the topic, and then introducing the issue you've chosen to focus on. What do you hope to find out about your topic? What questions are guiding you in your search? This is where you place your research questions. And notice I said questions, not just one. You want to have at least 2, 3, even 4 research questions to ask. Any steps you've taken so far to begin your search. This is where you write what you've already done so far to collect research on your topic and issue, how you plan to research your topic, the types of sources you intend to collect, the names of some of the sources you've already consulted. This would be a working bibliography. The types of search tools you're going to use, such as going to the library, going online in the library, and the research methods you're going to use, such as are you going to do a search? This is what you need to put into your research prospectus in order to get a good grade. After you turn in your research prospectus, our next step is going to be to create a topic history. Then we'll do an annotated bibliography, which is a bibliography, a list of sources with an analysis of those sources. And then you'll develop your thesis and create an outline of your paper. And then you'll create your first draft. We'll do a peer review workshop, a self-review workshop, and then we'll have our final draft due the last week of class. I hope this is helpful. I look forward to seeing you guys online.